Welcome to Story Craft Portal, where we bring you gripping and real stories with honesty and depth. Today, we explore the infamous Peggy Hettrick case, a haunting mystery from 1987 in Fort Collins, Colorado, that shook the community and raised critical questions about justice. When Peggy Hettrick was found murdered, suspicion quickly fell on a young teenager named Tim Masters, leading to his controversial conviction as the alleged Peggy Hettrick killer. But was Tim truly guilty, or did the justice system overlook the truth? The question of who killed Peggy Hettrick remains a powerful thread through this story of wrongful accusation, forensic breakthroughs, and the fight for innocence. Join us as we unravel this tragic tale that challenges the very meaning of justice and explores the devastating consequences of a flawed investigation. In February 1987, the quiet town of Fort Collins, Colorado, was shaken when Peggy Hettrick's body was discovered in a remote field. The Peggy Hettrick case quickly became a local tragedy, sparking one of the most controversial investigations in the state's history. Peggy, a 37-year-old mother, had been brutally murdered, and the community demanded answers. Police soon focused on Tim Masters, a troubled 15-year-old boy living nearby, who became the prime suspect. Dubbed the Peggy Hettrick killer by the media, Tim was arrested despite little physical evidence directly linking him to the crime. The question haunting everyone was clear: who killed Peggy Hettrick? This case would spiral into a devastating story of wrongful conviction, lost years, and shattered lives. As new forensic methods developed over time, doubts about Tim's guilt began to grow, setting the stage for a dramatic fight to uncover the truth and bring justice to Peggy and her family. The investigation into the Peggy Hettrick case intensified as police searched for more evidence. Despite minimal physical proof, Tim Masters was linked to the crime largely through his disturbing artwork and a shaky confession, which many believed was coerced. The community was divided. Some convinced Tim was the Peggy Hettrick killer, while others doubted his guilt. The question, who killed Peggy Hettrick, grew louder as new witnesses failed to come forward. Tim's trial began, but critical forensic evidence was overlooked, and the jury convicted him. The courtroom drama didn't just decide a verdict. It set the stage for decades of legal battles. Yet, beneath the surface, a chilling truth remained hidden, and the real killer walked free. The fight for justice and truth was far from over. Years passed, and Tim Masters endured prison for a crime many believed he didn't commit. Advances in DNA technology sparked hope in the Peggy Hettrick case, revealing that critical evidence had been mishandled or ignored during the original investigation. Questions about Tim as the Peggy Hettrick killer resurfaced. The fight to reopen the case gained momentum as forensic experts found no match between Tim's DNA and evidence from the crime scene. The community's trust in the justice system began to waver. Meanwhile, Peggy's family continued to seek closure, desperate to know who killed Peggy Hettrick and to see true justice served. Tim's wrongful conviction became a rallying cry for reform in how evidence is tested and how innocent lives are protected. The renewed investigation into the Peggy Hettrick case uncovered a new suspect, a man living near Peggy with a troubling past and surgical skills. Investigators found fibers in his vehicle matching those from the crime scene and blood traces linking him directly to Peggy. The media frenzy reignited, questioning the original conviction and demanding answers. Tim Masters was officially cleared as the Peggy Hettrick killer, but the damage done to his life was irreversible. The question of who killed Peggy Hettrick was finally narrowing, but the community struggled to come to terms with the system's failure. The fight for justice revealed dark truths about wrongful convictions and the cost of mistakes in the pursuit of answers. Tim Masters' exoneration marked a turning point in the Peggy Hettrick case, but the search for the real killer continued relentlessly. The true Peggy Hettrick killer was finally arrested after years of evading justice. His trial exposed the failures of the initial investigation and highlighted the importance of forensic science in solving crimes accurately. Peggy's family found some solace as truth emerged, but the emotional scars remained. The case became a landmark example of wrongful conviction and forensic progress, sparking changes in legal procedures across Colorado. Yet, the haunting question, who killed Peggy Hettrick, reminded everyone that justice, while achievable. After the new suspect's arrest in the Peggy Hettrick case, the investigation reopened crucial wounds, but also brought renewed hope. Forensic evidence finally aligned with witness testimonies, painting a clearer picture of the night Peggy murdered. The community, once divided over who killed Peggy Hettrick, began to see justice within reach. Tim Masters, once branded the Peggy Hettrick killer, now stood vindicated, but his fight for reputation and healing was far from over. The legal battles to clear his name inspired reforms in police interrogation methods and evidence handling. As the trial of the real killer approached, emotions ran high, with the family hoping for closure and the truth to finally surface. The trial of the real suspect in the Peggy Hettrick case captivated the nation. Expert witnesses detailed how advanced DNA testing, unavailable during Tim Masters' trial, conclusively proved the innocence of Tim and implicated the new suspect as the true Peggy Hettrick killer. The courtroom drama exposed the failures of earlier investigations and the devastating impact of wrongful accusations. The emotional testimonies from Peggy's family highlighted their long struggle for justice and the pain caused by decades of uncertainty. Public outrage grew as the justice system's errors came to light, pushing for reforms. The question, who killed Peggy Hettrick, was finally answered, but the case left lasting scars on the community and all involved. As the verdict in the Peggy Hettrick case approached, tensions ran high. The jury's decision would not only confirm the real Peggy Hettrick killer, but also acknowledge the grave miscarriage of justice that sent Tim Masters to prison for years. In a historic moment, Tim was fully exonerated, and the new suspect was found guilty of murder. The courtroom erupted with relief and tears, but the emotional toll on everyone was undeniable. This victory for truth was bittersweet, highlighting the human cost of errors in law enforcement. The case became a catalyst for change, improving forensic protocols and protecting the innocent. Yet the haunting question of who killed Peggy Hettrick reminded all that justice delayed is not. In the aftermath of the Peggy Hettrick case, Colorado's legal system faced intense scrutiny. Reforms were implemented to prevent wrongful convictions like Tim Masters, ensuring better evidence handling and fairer trials. Peggy's family continued their advocacy for victims' rights and justice reforms, turning their tragedy into a force for change. The story of the Peggy Hettrick killer became a cautionary tale about the dangers of rushing to judgment. Tim rebuilt his life, becoming an advocate for those falsely accused. The community healed slowly, forever changed by a case that questioned who killed Peggy Hettrick, but ultimately proved that truth and justice can prevail. The Peggy Hettrick case officially closed after decades of investigation, trial, and reform. The real Peggy Hettrick killer served a life sentence, while Tim Masters' name was cleared forever. This case left an indelible mark on Colorado's justice system, reminding everyone of the importance of due process and accurate forensic science. It exposed how fragile truth can be when rushed and how the fight for justice demands persistence. Peggy's family found a measure of peace, and Tim's story inspired legal reforms protecting the innocent. The question of who killed Peggy Hettrick had finally been answered, but the legacy of this tragic case will continue to influence justice for years to come.